Hey, Magic fans, back again here with your captain speaking on Capnclyde's MTG. And today we are going to go over dun 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 the Magic the Gathering Arena economy for 2022. So this is something that was posted on Wizards of the Coast. I'll give you the quick breakdown and the skinny on it. But before we get started, remember, like, subscribe, comments down below feeds the YouTube algorithm. If you've done everything you can to support us getting to 1,000 subscribers, check out the description box. It's got a link to the eBay store, the Patreon, and the email if you want to hit me up. New Capenna boxes, I could be selling them if you are in the mood. Let me know. So, without further ado, let's take a look at what we're talking about here. So, they want to talk about basically what Arena is, where it's going, and what it's going to be in the future. So, as you go through here and you look at this, um, they talk about here how for several months the community's been having a robust conversation about Magic the Gathering Arena's economy. So, for those of you who don't know, how you buy, sell the cards, trade the cards, get cards, and basically they're saying that they just listen, collect the data as people express their concerns. So, here's what they came up with. If this is going to shock you, we'll see. So obviously they talk about not being able to solve the whole problem at once. You can see the whole 1 hour video here on their website. Feel free to go check it out. But first thing they talk about is Arena's vision. Basically, the vision for Arena and around its economy was to lay some groundwork for the vision and philosophy to guide the developers, which means that um, you can play from the comfort of your home, on the go on a PC or your phone, have access to all the Magic Arena offers. You can explore new releases, to battling friends, high level competition, everything Arena already does. They also wanted to embrace Magic's roots here, they say, acknowledge that we are a different platform with its own unique needs and constraints. The Magic Gathering Arena was originally built to engage players with what we call front list play at no cost, specifically standard constructed and recent draft. So at the time passes, they've continued to add things like historic, cube draft, and even alchemy. But this expansion also creates new challenges that we must overcome as our game and community grows. I don't know about growing community, and the numbers have been going down ever since I've been watching this stuff. But basically, what they're really getting into here is this is not the normal tabletop Magic that we all know and love. We're getting into things like historic cube and mainly alchemy here. They're making the digital client its own separate thing. I talked about this before. Because the way alchemy plays, they're not real cards, and the fact that they're now adjusting cards in the game like most other games do, like runestones uh, or the other ones. Um, when Magic cards are printed, they just either they have to ban them or do some kind of weird errata. And as far as they went with the drastic erratas, would have to be Ikoria with the whole um, mechanic for the oh goodness, what are they called? Anyway, if things that sit in your sideboard go to your hand. Anyway, point being, uh, what I'm getting from this basically is they're strictly defining the fact that this digital client, Magic: The Gathering Arena, is going to be its own thing, have its own thing, and not really be connected to paper draft, except for the fact that you can grab some standard cards, you can play standard to test decks if you don't have somewhere in particular like a local LGS or friends in the immediate area that you can actually go play. You can play anywhere, anytime, all the practice you need, see how the cards play, which that's kind of cool. But then again, you have to look at it for what it is, which it's not paper magic. It's never gonna be. And because of that, it's going to be very hard to get that same thrill out of it. So, with that said, let's move on. Here we talk about Magic Arena Economy 101. So what does it mean in the economy? So, this here talks about how you buy things. You have gold gems, individual card rewards, packs, wild cards, and different ways to earn them. Remember, they wanted this to be apparently a free game to begin with. I call shenanigans on that, but we'll go with it for right there. So you get event rewards, quests, dailies, weekly runs, and yes, monetary transactions, i.e., I call shenanigans. So, pay to win. Anyhow, so the overreaching goals and philosophies behind it here, they give you the pretty good riot act through here about balancing players' needs between first-time players and players who play for decades, and the people who fall in between, people who just get in, being able to play without having to buy a bunch of cards, spend a bunch of money, yada yada yada. Um, they also want to encourage healthy play behaviors. They don't want players to feel like they must play 10 hours a day. So, the once a month reroll option or once a day reroll option lets players tailor their experience if the quest doesn't quite fit their play style. Daily win rewards are front loaded, and most rewards available day to day basis are earned in the first couple of wins to reinforce the commitment. Basically, you can play your dailies like you can any game, get them done, and then just walk away, which is fine and all for what I like to do, but in the long run, I think that is actually very detrimental to any kind of game that you play. Um, just saying. Only because, unlike real Magic, you play in paper, you can't converse with anybody because there's no texting system, which is probably fine because people are trolls on the internet. But moving on. So we finally believe that opening packs should be fun and collecting should be rewarding. That's why it's ever evolving. Let player participate in things that give them experience or rewards from the economy through various events, playing formats, constructed, so forth and so on. It says here, players who don't want to spend money will earn cards and make those changes over the course of the release season as they complete quests, unlock levels, mastery, system, participate in events. Basically, as you build your decks or you want to play a different deck, you can build up to that as you progress through the tiers. Other things here, it says the main thing they really talk about through the whole thing is focus on deck iteration. Uh, we know that players are completionists who wish to collect every card available. They may find that harder with sets. So in practice, you know, for instance, says here they'll soon be launching a mythic booster pack available for 1,300 gold that ensures that the card in the rare or mythic slot is always a mythic unless it's replaced by a wild card. This should help collectors who are rare complete but are still missing mythic cards. So again, I am a completionist too. I just wish they gave us more options to buy packs and earn packs because they really don't have enough to earn every day. You really do have to play on a regular basis and really build it up over the course of time. And maybe even sacrifice a set or two as you build up so you can start getting into that rhythm where you can actually start acquiring enough so you can play the cards and decks that you want, which honestly is not good for the environment. But anyway, it talks here about deck brewers, which once again, it's hard to brew decks. You don't have the cards for them. People like to experiment. Again, hard to do that if you can't get the cards for them, which kind of recircles back to the problem we showed previously. Now, it talks here about how do the limited drafts factor into this? Well, basically, the primary goal for the limited draft, like any tie-in draft that you do, is just to have fun while gathering cards and at the same time getting a little extra money for the economy so you can actually go buy some stuff if you're good at draft. So, player collections here, they again address the fact that you can't dust cards. For those of you who don't know what dusting is, it tells you right here. Basically, by destroying a card, you can get other cards by getting things for killing cards you have extras of and then reapplying them to other cards. They have a fear that by doing this, you'll have to disassemble your decks to get the cards you want to play the new formats, and that's not what they want. In all likelihood, they tried to replace this with the chest option, which honestly, the ability to only get one mythic, two rares, and three uncommons once you get to 100% is way worse than any dusting system I've ever seen. Me personally, you tell me what you think. So, another thing they talk about here is duplicate protection, about how you never get duplicate cards because of the whole, chest scenario that they have, so forth and so on. So here it also talks about, will we ever be able to exchange lower rarity common and uncommon wild cards for a rare or mythic one? Obviously no, because that would mean they wouldn't make any money because you don't have to, if you could do that, you wouldn't have to buy the rare or mythics or packs. I'm not trying to be mean about that. It's just the truth, because trust me, if any of you guys ever watch any of my gameplay, you'll notice I have hundreds of uncommons and rare cards and almost no mythics. So, everything else, I just want to buy rare or mythic cards so I can finish a deck. Obviously, you should do that normally, and here they throw in the good old, you can buy a wild card bundle for $50, which is a total ripoff. Please do not spend money on Magic the Gathering Arena only because these are digital items that you can't get back. Now, if you want to drop a $5, $10 here or there, or maybe 50 once, just because it's free to play and you kind of feel like, and I've done this before with a lot of games that I play, I'll drop $5, $10, $20 on it if it's a free game. If I'm really enjoying it and I'm getting fun out of it and I've played it for a couple of weeks, they deserve a little something for that entertainment, and I'm more than happy to willingly give them that money. As long as that money doesn't guarantee a win or anything weird shenanigans like that, right? So there's all that to go along with it. So down here it talks about tabletop and digital play. Talk about consideration of players who collect cards on both tabletop and digital economic decisions. It doesn't really talk too much about anything other than the pre-release, the audiences, and a supported free path to play. The same shenanigans they talked about higher up in the article, and why should I play digital product and tape versus tabletop physical product. They talk here about whatever best aligns with the players. Where you play one, the other, or both, we support both tabletop and the arena for more years to come. Obviously, they're making money on arena of some degree, or they just wouldn't have it. Why Alchemy? Why not Pioneer or Commander or any other tabletop format? So this is a good one. So let's take a look at that. We continually look to provide experiences for all players who found that there are players who want a format to grow and shift at a pace that matches the speed of digital consumption. Now, Alchemy provides an experience for those players. Also was shown by the recent Neon Dynasty Championship winning Orzhov Venture deck piloted by ULTC and whatever. Second, Historic was able to carve out an identity of its own that filled the basic need for non-rotating formats, which once again, we talked about that in a previous video, how Alchemy has ruined that because Alchemy cards are played Historic, not like real Historic. So, it says coupled with that fact, there are still 5 years worth of sets to get to Pioneer. We shifted priority to something that we'd be more able to act more quickly. That's shenanigans, but whatever. Finally, Commander and other formats require even more effort than Pioneer. Basically, they don't want to put that kind of stuff into this format because it's easier to put it onto paper because people aren't spending enough money on this, and nor will they when they already can have it the other way and actually have something tangible. So, with that said, they talk here about having a rotating and non-rotating variants and more news on this format to come. So basically, it talks here about the inclusion of Alchemy cards and Historic has pushed the format further away from tabletop than some players would like. Duh, we talked about that. And as a result, we'll be adding a non-rotating format exclusively consists of cards available in tabletop. So this here also shows what we talked about before, how the Alchemy cards actually ruined the Historic format because it made it unplayable because you can't do it in tabletop. So those players now no longer play that format, leaving only Constructed to practice on, and nobody's going to pay money for that, especially when they got to pad the regular cards. So they at least got their head halfway out of their sphincter when they realized that they made a graphic mistake, but instead of correcting it the right way, they're just going to add a different rotating format, which is probably going to be some form of Historic called something else, Historic Plus or Historic 2, where Alchemy cards are not allowed, which will probably be a more played format until eventually Alchemy just stops being a thing. Unless for some reason Alchemy takes off because they put a whole bunch of money behind it and just force people to play it because they're giving away so much free stuff. But anyway, there you have it, guys. There's the quick overview of what they think about the MTG Arena economy, supposedly. Basically, it's kind of more of like a state of the game and what the economy looks like. To sum this all up in a nutshell, feel free to go hit the article or pause the video as we're going through it, or rewind it and then pause it because we're now at the end. Anyway, point being, my thing to you is play it for free. It's fun to play for free. That way, when you get mad because the game cheats you, and it will, or somebody scams you, and they will because of hacks that are not fixed, you won't get mad because you're not losing money. Don't pay money for this. These are not real cards. These are not tangible, and they never will be. It's not like this is an NFT or anything like that. If tomorrow Arena crashes, guess what? If you spent money on it, you're just out cash. So, take that money, buy some real Magic cards, find your local LGS, help support your local guys. And as always, play Magic in person because for the love of God, we're social creatures. Let's have some fun for once. This whole coof pandemic thing is over, so let's just get back to being real people again, as ugly as that is. But anyway, with all that said, guys, thanks a lot for watching. Remember, until next time, be kind, and I always hope to see you across from the game table.